This is a little bit on raised and pot gardening. So I do a lot of stuff in pots because I don't have space. So these are hydrangeas which have come out very nicely, and some other Texas sage and grass, some mogra, and other stuff I have done. This is not raised gardening, but it's those beans, chikudkaya as they call it. Seems to come very well. This plant doesn't die in the winter. It is 2 years old, and the main stalk is nice and thick, and just it comes in tons. We just have to freeze it. Bell peppers also, they didn't die last year, and it just keeps on getting bell peppers. I think this fella is ready to be plucked. And here I raised it. I have 3 tiers. The first one is beans, and the last one is red beans. This is the aurekai type beans, and in the middle I have chard. Since the house is east-west, in direction the sun goes, even in between the chard is done. Somebody gave me 3 pieces of chard and it's come out really big. This one gave a lot of beans. It's this sort. The beans. Seems to like that spot. I threw a few seeds and this came this year. Then in the front I've raised it by 3 to maybe 4 inches, whatever. And put chilies on one half, 4 feet. And then tomatoes on the other 4 feet. Put 1 tomato in the pot. It actually is doing very well with a lot of tomatoes. So the potted tomato plant is doing well, but the leaves aren't as healthy as the other one. Then I have dahlia, which came up from last year. It keeps on coming back. It's 2 years actually. This is the 3rd one, I think. And just to give it a rise in the back, I made that thing out of some wood I had and put a small barrel on top and put flowers on it. So it gives a nice 3D. I had a gutter in the back, which I actually closed. And then I put a line of pots, vegetable gardening, all the way across. As you can see, I've closed it. And in them, I find that some plants do better than the others. Starting with ridge gourd in the corner, or what we call turai, which I put on the trellis back there. Then I have some blackberries. So blackberries seem to do very well in a pot. Then bell peppers. I've already picked about 10 from this little pot. It's actually a plastic half wine barrel type of pot. And then I have 4 eggplants. These eggplants are doing wonderfully well. This one is actually from last year, and it has lots of eggplants inside just hanging there. And likewise, as you can see, these also there are just way too many eggplants. So eggplants actually grow very well along with bell peppers if you put them in pots. That's my experience, at least through the years this year. This year I tried out a Karela or a bitter melon, and I put it in a 27-inch pot, and that actually is doing very well. Lots of Karelas in it. Seems to love that place, and it seems to do extremely well in that spot. I just hung a trellis in the back. This is the west side. As we are looking at it, you can see the east side sun, and it is doing well, I'd say. Leaves are a little yellowish, probably need a little iron. I have another squash plant. This is a heirloom squash, one which looks like a small ballish type. There it is. Lots of flowers. I used to have 3 or 4. As you can see, they all fell off. I don't know what the deal is, but let's see. Maybe the season is starting now. Leaves are healthy, and it is growing very fast. At one point last month, it was growing almost 1 inch per day when we got out. Next to it, I have a pomegranate plant. This is 5 years old. Very faithful. I keep it to this height. I keep trimming it, and the pomegranates are pretty good. I think the variety is Wonderful Pomegranate itself. It's called Wonderful. And the plant is healthy after 5 years. It's kind of got stunted growth in the pot, but it's okay. As long as it gives me about 8-10 per year, I'm happy with it. I put a peepal tree next to it, peepal plant. That one also is quite good. New leaves coming up this year. It's in a similar 27-inch pot from Home Depot. And a cherry moya. I have this plant is actually also 5-6 years old. I get no fruit from this one, but it looks good, so I'm keeping it. On the southwest side of the yard, I didn't have any more space, so I cut the deck about 18 inches square, and I put 3 Oppo squash plants. I put that trellis together with 4 2x4s pieces of wood from Home Depot. 2 on this side, 2 on the other side of the deck, and then I raised it up to around 8 feet, I'd say. And Oppo squash season is in September. This is July, and we have started getting Oppo squash now. That's the first one. Hopefully, with some more chicken manure, which I have used before, I will get more Oppo squash this year. I've not finished it. I plan to put some cross members on top so that it can climb on top. Leaves are healthy again. This one's in the ground, but not in a pot. On this side of the deck, I have another creeper. Let's see how this one goes. My old curry plant. It is now humongous now. If you recall from the other video, it was small. Now it's gone so big that I won't be able to pick it up. Its daughter plant is doing well as well, also in a pot. And behind that I have a canacambrum which is raised up just to give it a nice look. And from seed grown parijatam plant. From seed, I planted this before. They seem to be coming up, the curry plants. Then I have a basil, another basil plant. This is where under the prune tree, which I have plenty of prunes on, which is on the ground though, under its shade and the shade of the red tip 14-year, which is on the west side as well. These seem to grow very well. It gets the heat, but not as much harsh sun. It's filtered sun. On the south side, I don't have much space, as you can see. It's only 5 feet. And I have ACs here as well. I raised the bed by around 9 inches. And I put coyote squash or Mysore badnekai. I've let the plant grow up. I've made a trellis. And right on top of the ACs, where the AC blows, this is the upstairs AC which gets hot, I see that the plant doesn't like it. But on the side where the air does not blow, it seems to do well. This is an October plant. So I love the raised bed because it gives the roots a little extra space to grow. I've let the plant grow on top of the prune tree, coyote squash. Let's see, the prunes will be done in another month or so. By September it will be done, and then the coyote squash will grow on top of the prune tree, and then in December I'll just chop off these branches and remove those branches. So let's see. I'm sure it won't damage the prune tree in any way. For all these plants, including this Satsuma, which is in a 24-inch pot, I put a handful of chicken manure, and I was surprised to find that they immediately perked up and looked a lot healthier. Something to try. The only issue I found was the garden smells for almost 2, 3, 4 days. So let's see what I got today. I got 2 tomatoes. This is an heirloom tomato. I'm not going to put it in. 3 of these round, 4 of these round eggplants. And 6 of those, 3 of that type. 6 of these, pretty good size. 6 of these bell peppers. The potted bell pepper is smaller than the ground bell pepper. And then this one, which I showed 2 of those. And then beans, lots of beans. You can't consume so many. I have just this many in a bag in the fridge, which I cut 3 weeks ago. 3 beans, I'm gonna use it. So that's what I cut today. So is it possible to make a potted veggie garden? I think so. Can't wait for the oppo squash, coyote squash to come. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.